So you have been offered a PhD position in France, or you want to come over to do some research. Or it probably could be your hosting institute, your home institution, which puts a hosting agreement in front of you and you don't even know what it is. You've watched the general talent video, but it's not full enough. Your own situation is specific. My name is Adebukola. I've been in France 8 years and I've seen quite a number of people go through this postdoc research route, to come into France for their studies with their families. And sometimes it's just one little bit of information that makes the difference, that makes the process so much seamless. So today we go in deep. Researchers, postdoc, PhD students, this video is dedicated to you. First things first, before starting anything at all, there's one important document you need. It's called Convention d'accueil. This is a hosting agreement. This document is prepared by the French institution, which writes in that document what kind of research you're coming to do, what the conditions are, how much you're going to be paid. It puts in all the details of the activity you're coming to the university to do. It's signed by the host university, and this signing is what gives you the authorization to work in France. Without this specific document, you cannot apply for the talent visa as a researcher. You can't, it's a hard stop. This is what most people do wrong. They find the position online or somewhere and immediately they begin applying for a visa. They apply for a visa, go for the appointment, and then their visa gets rejected. It's because they have forgotten that the hosting agreement has to be prepared by the host university. It's not enough to find a position in a university that's open and you have applied for it. They have to prepare a hosting agreement for you. And this hosting agreement is what you take to the embassy to apply for the talent visa. The correct order is position is confirmed, institution prepares hosting agreement, you apply for the visa, and not the other way around. The form has a special number. And it's called Convention d'accueil d'un chercheur ou d'un enseignant étranger. It must be signed by both you and the host institution. Then you bring it to the French consulate where it is stamped as part of your visa application. The France talent visa for researchers covers three specific profiles. Let me explain that. The first category of people who can apply for the talent visa as researchers are researchers that already have a work contract with their French universities. They can apply for the talent visa. If you are a doctoral student who has enrolled in a French university by yourself, you cannot apply for the talent visa because the distinction here is the work contract. So you can't apply. If you enroll in a university for your doctorate program in France without a work contract, you apply for a student visa. Yeah. The second profile I will talk about is postdoctoral candidates. You can apply for the talent visa if a French university invites you as a doctor to conduct some research in their own institution. And in this case, you are covered by them. And what they pay you has to reach a certain threshold. If you can meet the threshold of the amount, then you can apply for a talent visa. But if the amount they are paying you is not up to the threshold, which I'll show you on the screen, then you cannot apply for the talent visa. It will be perhaps a study visa. Now, and the final profile I will talk about is the senior researchers, senior academics, postdoctoral scientists, who actually have a convention or they have a contract with a French university. They can also apply for the talent visa. So these are three different profiles, and you have to make the distinction between the three so that you go for your application having all the key information at hand. The only distinction is the Franco-Algerian agreements for researchers coming from Algeria. They have quite a different visa. Otherwise, every other non-EU country in Africa has to apply for the talent visa. But for Algerians, because they have an agreement with the French government, they have scientific researcher visa for them, and it's only for them. Since January the 1st, 2026, anyone applying for the talent visa and you have a hosting institution, the threshold, it has to be 1,848 euros minimum. If you are being paid above that amount or that amount, you qualify to apply for the talent visa. If your funding for your research is below 1,846 euros, unfortunately, you have to apply as a regular student, even though your business in France is research. Yes, that's the thing. It's the funding that makes the difference between an ordinary student visa and a talent visa. 1,848. If you have more than that, that's fantastic. Apply for it. But if it's less than that, you will have to apply for a student visa, even though technically you're coming here to do research. The figure I just mentioned is the net amount. So the gross funding for your research must be 2,000, in the range of 2,003 upwards, to have 1,848 net per month. So before you finalize the hosting agreement with the hosting institution, try to ask questions about the funding, specifically ask for the amount so that you know what visa you're going to apply for and you won't waste months going through the wrong route only to be told that it's not enough. So if you have about 2001 to 2003 gross per month, you're good. You fall into the category of those that can apply for the talent visa. But anything below that, you have to apply for a student visa, which is equally valid, even though technically you're coming to do research. Like I said in the previous video, the talent visa permits you to come in with your family at the same time, especially with the funding amount you get monthly. It's enough to live comfortably. But the good thing about the talent visa is that your spouse also gets the same visa and is allowed to work in any sector, has unlimited amount of work hours that they can work. So of course that will be an additional income for you instead of your spouse having to ask for permission to work. It's already automatic. So that's the good thing. Your children will go to a public school, which is excellent, so it's a good experience for the whole family. But unfortunately, if you cannot apply for the talent visa because your funding is below the threshold, then your family can't come with you automatically. And then I would refer you to the visitor visa, which I explained is the one that a student can use to come into the country with his or her family. The hosting agreement, even though the hosting agreement comes from the hosting university, it has to be initiated by you. Say you get your position already, it's confirmed. Then the next step is for you to go to the international desk of that university and request for a hosting agreement that you need it in paper. This document specifies how long you're staying, the kind of research you're engaging in, how much you're going to be paid, important details that the France consulate in your country would need to know. It takes about 4 to 8 weeks for the hosting agreement to be signed by your host university. And once it's signed, it's sent to you. You also sign in it and you take this document to the France consulate, and during your application, you submit it alongside the usual documents you need for applying for a visa. In the case where you're going with your family, you have to show accommodation as an accommodation contract that you've already received. You also have to show proof of funds, and so on and so forth. So how does this look for a researcher coming to France? In France, it's, research is really an international venture, in the sense that most labs and research institutes speak in English. So if you come as a researcher, having the language is not really, you don't need to, know how to speak French, really. You don't need to speak French to work in your research because it's in English, but it is nice to have a bit of French because administration, your day-to-day life, it's all in French. Like I say in most of my videos, it's a good idea to have at least an A2 French. You may not be fluent, but you can understand and you're not completely lost. So it's a good idea to have a bit of French, but it's not compulsory. Another plus is that the researcher community in France is really strong and supportive, because researchers, of course, they are well educated, widely read, exposed people. So really, the community for researchers is really supportive, even at the family level. So it's a really good circle to be in, and that can be a real plus for you. You have to show up. There will be events and other things arranged to make sure you're welcome and you're comfortable. So it's a really good community to be in. On the subject of finances, research institutions really pay well in France. You might not be wealthy, but you'll be comfortable. And this can even be more so, especially if you're outside of Paris. Toulouse, Bordeaux, Lyon, they have world-class research institutes there. And it'd be a good idea to try to find something in those cities rather than Paris, because the quality of life is really, really great. Really, really great. And another tip is that when you finish your research, you have automatic right to a 1 year visa to help you look for another position or another research post if you want. So you don't have to leave immediately. It depends on you. If you don't want to leave immediately after research, fine. And if you want to use that 1 year to find a next position, you're also allowed to do so easily. The research path is one of the most respected ways to get French permanent French residency, because it's research is regarded highly, and it shows that they really like researchers because they have contributed significantly to the country. So the path is really quite easy for them to stay. It's either they find another hosting agreement, or they actually move into a job that pays the right threshold, so you can have a permanent residence if you want. And otherwise, it's also valid to return to your home base and contribute there as well. Also, if your research has produced really remarkable results, and it's really groundbreaking, you can also be eligible to apply for a permanent talent resident in France. So if you have a research offer in France or a postdoctorate offer here, the important thing for you is to have the hosting agreement. And if everything is done correctly, you bring your family in from day one. The beautiful thing about it is that after 5 years on your research, you are eligible to apply for residence if you so choose. And if you need specific coaching and help, there's free and paid options, of course. And I'm attaching a master plan and also a guide below, which is free. The guide is free. The master plan, you have to go to my stand store to purchase it at a token fee. So, as I usually say, I'm not a professional, I'm not an immigration specialist or a lawyer, but I'm just sharing the tips that will make all the difference, because sometimes all you need is just a little bit of information that can really change the game for you. And so that's why I'm here. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe and sign up and make your comments, and I'll see you in the next. Bye.